Welcome back to Hagen Hill Design. I'm Jake. This is...
Who am I, Jake?
I think it's Katie. Is it Katie?
Yeah.
We have another project to do, a new one, and we're really excited about it. We're gonna do a planted tank. Sorry that I have a cold. I sound funny. It's very nasally. That's why I'm gonna let Katie do most of the talking. I just wanted to point out that we got this idea from another YouTuber called Father Fish, and we're gonna follow it as closely as we can. But of course, like anything that we do, we kind of like to put our own spin on some of the stuff. So I'll hand it off to Katie, and she's going to take you guys through that. And I'll just kind of run the camera and be quiet.
All right, everybody. Jake was kind enough to empty out the 75-gallon tank we had the girls in for a temporary measure, so we could move their 40 onto the new stand with another 30. It took a little while to get it emptied, but we used the same water, so there was no transfer shock or anything like that, so you don't have to worry about it with the fish. Today we're going to be doing a dirted planted tank. On the bottom, we're going to have an inch of dirt with some fertilizers that we're going to add in there. I'll walk you through what we're going to put in there, approximately how much. But by the time we're done with the whole mixing process of what everything goes in there, it's going to be an inch deep of the potting soil and everything. On top of that, we're going to do 2 inches of sand. After that's done, we can slowly add water into the tank. And once it's full, I can finally plant the tank. And then, of course, get fish to put in there. All right, our ingredient list, guys, is going to be potting soil. Now, I'm going to recommend to you, do not use any Miracle-Gro products because there are more chemicals in that than there are what we're using that is more on the natural base here. So this is just regular potting soil, ready to use. And then it also calls for some compost and peat. I have a compost peat mixture, which is a little bit different than what Father Fish did, but I'm sure it'll work the same way. And then here on top, after we get the dirt all mixed in with the fertilizers, is the play sand. This is iron tone. Father Fish actually uses ironite in his, but this is the same principle. So that's another change we made in the ingredients. Another one that it calls for is bone meal. These are all the same brand products from Espoma Organics. It just happened to be the company that I was able to get. And next we're gonna have garden lime. We're gonna add some Osmocote, some Epsom salts, some diatomaceous earth, and in this is called Poultry-Cal. It's calcium for poultry birds to make sure their eggshells stay hard. And this is another little bit of a substitute. He called for calcium, powdered calcium, I believe. We're going to use Poultry-Cal in ours. In this little bit of a small space we have to work in right now, I'm going to have Jake help me get the dirt into the tank because I can't lift it without busting the tank. So we don't want to do that. We're going to start off with the potting soil.
Move it about as soon as possible so it's not concentrated in one spot.
Being short does not always have the best advantage point.
Shorter. That better?
Yes. I'm not. I know. Now it's recommended at least an inch of the substrate part of it. You can go thicker, but just keep in mind, once you add your sand on there of the 2 inches, let's say I did 3 inches of the dirt substrate. If I add 2 more inches on, I'm losing 5 inches basically for room for my fish and my plants. So just keep it in your back of your head if you're gonna do this at home. Right now I'm just going through and getting most of the clumps out of here so I can get a more finer consistency, if you will. That's pretty good. Now we can add some of the peat moss in. Okay. We'll see how that looks once I get going. No, I think I'm okay right now. No, yeah, maybe a little bit. Sorry. Now that I'm looking.
It's fine. I mean, once it's done, it's done. So.
Right. Okay. That should be good. I'll see. One more dash.
Well,
Okay. Sorry, needed costume change. We're gonna have one big mess and a little bit here. I'll try and be careful though. We're gonna, no particular order, add our ingredients. I'm gonna start with the iron tone. Now, warning, if you're really sensitive to smells and have allergies like I do, you might wanna wear a mask. These are pretty potent. I'm gonna evenly distribute them. Now, ironite is a slow release fertilizer. It's typically used for lawns to make them greener. Other plants also. I used not quite half the bag for that, and I'm gonna seal it up really, really well. Whew. The only one that might not stink is the garden lime, but the rest of them are pretty potent. We're gonna do bone meal now. This one I'm just gonna sprinkle, it's pretty fine, and it's gonna end up going everywhere if I take it out by hand. Whoever said fertilizers have to stink to be good. I'm gonna go next with the poultry cow. I won't put all of it in there, but I'll put a good majority in there. Next, I'll do the Osmocote. This probably doesn't smell as bad. This has a handy dandy pouring spout on it, so you can go around your vegetables and flowers if you use it outdoors. A basic fertilizer, and there's no burning pledge on it. That's guaranteed to not burn any of your plants up because there's too much fertilizer, like if you sprinkle too much. Next, I'll do the Epsom salts. I'll save the messiest for last, the diatomaceous earth. Get some lumps out of the bag here. Sprinkle this in. Epsom salts also promotes greenery in plants, especially peppers and tomatoes. I would say I used about 1.5 cups on that. Next is the diatomaceous earth. Now this is really powdery, so try and keep your nose and face away from the dust. This is mainly used for a repellent / eradicator for ants and other crawling insects. Once they touch it, it basically dehydrates the bug. So it's a safe way to use a pesticide that's not a pesticide in your garden. You just wash everything off if it gets on the fruits or the vegetables. Diatomaceous earth is also a fertilizer. So we put about 1 cup in there, and now it's time to get messy. All right, we're gonna mix it all up. Oh, that stinks. Get right down to the bottom. Get that potting soil up. Get everything. Remember, don't lean on the aquarium, hover. Get right in there. Make sure everything is combined just like you would for cake or any batter mix. I'm gonna do half at a time and then toss them both after. All right. That's fine. Also keep in mind, depending on how big of a tank you have, that you have a stand that is braced and can hold extra weight besides water weight. Now when we put the potting soil in here, it was a little wet, which is fine because we're gonna show you what we're gonna do where the messy part comes in. And this is how it makes your dirt substrate stay settled. Do we have some fish water available? What's next? I need you to get me fish water if we have some available. I'd rather use fish water because if you use tap water, it kind of defeats the whole purpose since ours is chlorinated. We need aquarium water because it's already been cycled with the fertilizers and nutrients from the other fish, and it will help jumpstart your tank for your plants and your fish to be in there. And since most people's tap water, if you're living in the city, is chlorinated, it's not a good thing to use. If you don't have an aquarium already and this is your first one you're doing, the best thing to do is get bottled water, not distilled. This is our fish water. What we're gonna do is slowly add water to the dirt mixture and mix it in. We want it to be a mud consistency, but not a soup consistency. So we're gonna add a little bit at a time and mix, you know, kind of like you're cooking. So don't get too heavy-handed there, Jake. Let's try that.
That's about a half a gallon.
Oh, all right, half a gallon. Jake put in there. Now we're gonna see the consistency once we mix everything together again. Yeah, there's wet spots in here, so I just need one big bench to stand on so I don't fall off the stool. More water, more water. Okay, so we poured the entire gallon in here. It's like playing in cowboys. And anybody who says ew was probably the kid that never played in cowboys. You can see the dirt's wet, but I'm not still staying shape like a meatball. Okay. But it's not puddling and dripping water. That's the consistency you're looking for. I'm just kind of packing it down even. And if you don't have a partner to tell you that it's uneven, like I do, step back from your tank and take a look. Jake's turn. Watch your head. Unless you're trying to knock some sense in, did you? Do you want your Tonka toys to play in the dirt, honey?
Yes.
Jake's just getting the mud off the sides of the tank so it looks cleaner for the play sand to go in. Sand will push some of it down, especially once we add water in there. All right, we're gonna take a short break. Final step is adding in the sand on top of here and then slowly filling the tank. We'll see you in a little bit. I don't know what you gotta stop coaching me.